Welcome. During this video we'll be covering demonstrations on some of the key features that have been added to Autopart in version 30. A full listing of the new features is available through the MAM software community. This video is just going to cover some of the highlights. So on the following pages you'll see a listing of all of the features we'll be covering, and you can feel free to skip ahead to any that interest you. Thanks for watching. The first item we'll take a look at is the ability to prevent a quote from being raised for part numbers that are in the sales grid that have been linked to a PO. The reason this was brought in was to prevent counter people inadvertently creating a quote and losing the PO. So I'll jump into the sales screen and I'll just use a demo account on this system. So under product details, if I enter a part number and create a PO for this, so I'm going to hit the order button and create an order for this. This order is now linked to this line within the sales screen. So if I now try and hit the quote button, we now get a message saying we can't make a quote because there is a PO linked to it. A feature has been brought in to specify the maximum discount percentage that's allowable through the margin screen within point of sale. The facility has long existed for us to be able to specify a discount percentage within point of sale, but now we have the ability to restrict that and allow you to specify a maximum discount percentage. So we'll key a part number in, and we'll just key another part number in, and let's just take a look at the margin screen. So on the right hand side here, at the bottom of the screen, I have this new discount percentage box. I currently have my discount set to a maximum of 40%, so if I was to enter anything more than that and hit enter, I'm going to get a prompt just to say the value has gone beyond the maximum allowed. However, if I was to enter something less than that 40%, the discount is now entered. It's just going to want a reason on the system I'm using, and that discount is now spread across the lines within the sales screen. It's now possible to display the on-PO quantity within the point of sale branch stocks grid. So the branch stocks grid is located in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and this currently just shows you what each of your locations has. So as standard, it shows you what's available, what they have on hand. Now it can display you what's on PO. Purchase tracking is a new feature that's been added into Autopart, and what it does, it allows for the tracking of generic cash accounts, for example. So what it will allow me to do is flag a customer for purchase tracking and flag specific products for purchase tracking. So let's take a quick look at the setup in customer file maintenance. If I just bring up my generic cash account, we can see under the extra details tab just here that we've got a new checkbox for purchase tracking. What this allows us to do, this also allows us to flag some products also for purchase tracking under the other information tab. So I have a checkbox just here. So now when I'm in point of sale, when I'm making a sale to a generic cash account, this account is flagged up to record certain pieces of information from the customer. So for example, this is set up to record the customer name, email address and phone number, and different combinations of those can be made mandatory. So if I'm selling a regular product, I see no difference. We've added a button over here for parts tracking. I can enable this if I want to track the customer's information, But if we're going through a regular standard sale and I hit sell, you'll see that we're just met with the regular cash prompt. This time, if I sell a product that is set up for purchase tracking, you'll see that the parts tracking button is enabled by default. That's by way of the flag that we saw a second ago in the product and price file maintenance screen. If we have any products within the grid that are flagged for parts tracking or purchase tracking, the system will highlight this option. Now the difference will be at the point that I hit sell, the system's going to pop me a little screen up and it's going to ask me to enter certain pieces of information. So if I just enter the customer name, you'll see the system will do a little quick search. If I try and OK, I do have the email address and the contact number both flagged as mandatory. Each time I key something into one of these fields, there is a small delay while the system does a quick search to see whether this account exists somewhere within the system or this phone number is flagged to any accounts, and we'll see the same thing on the email address. So the reason I'm having a prompt right now is because this email address exists against another account. So I receive a prompt saying, do I want to replace it with existing info? If I say yes, it'll bring back this account. If I say no, then I'm right back to the screen. So this time I'm going to put in something distinct and I'm going to hit OK. So once I hit OK, I'm just getting a quick prompt because I'm creating a new account number and I'm back to the sales screen. You'll notice up in the top left hand corner we have a sequential account number, PT5001, MAM software. So this time if I just take cash, so if I now want to bring that customer up again, I've got a couple of options. I can press Control T on the keyboard, and what that's going to do, that's going to bring up the parts tracking screen. So it's going to allow me to enter any pieces of information the customer's able to supply. So let's go with the phone number. Once I tab off this or hit search on this field, you'll see that it now returns back the customer's account. So this allows us to then key another sale against this account, or whenever the customer's making another purchase from us, if they are purchasing another part number that's also flagged for parts tracking, once we're met with the actual entry screen just here, entering in any details where the account is similar or the same as an on-file account will mean what we're greeted with this prompt here. Selected replace existing, account selected replace existing info, yes. And you'll see that we're back to the account PT5001. So once I OK this, I'm now making another sale to the same account, PT5001. So this aids us in a number of ways. So this aids us batteries, and the batteries carry a warranty. This will also aid us if we want to track cores that we're selling to customers and cores that are coming back from customers. So now once I come into the credit screen and I'm raising a credit to a customer, I can try and do it against the regular account to cash account, or I can press Control T. Also, I get the parts tracking screen. So let's try the email address this time. And just hit search, excuse me. And you'll see that it returns me PT5001. So now, when the customer is returning me a battery that carries a warranty, I'm now met with the part selection screen, and I can select the parts and raise the credit back to the customer. So let's just raise that credit back to the customer. So essentially what we have now, we have a generic cash account that can trigger the ability to create a new account for the tracking of certain transactions. We've now added the ability for a user to control on an ad hoc basis whether or not to take a deposit. Now previously that was controlled via a parameter where a cash customer would be set to take a deposit on, say, a back order or a suspended transaction. Now if I load up the sales screen, we have a little checkbox here that says take deposit. So if I just enter a customer account, this is the generic cash account, you'll see this is checked by default. If I come to the product details, key up the part number, and hit the suspend button, we would see the deposit screen pop up. With the checkbox unchecked, this will go directly to a suspended transaction and not prompt for a deposit. A small but useful change has been introduced into the part search screen. To illustrate what it does, I'll run into the sales screen, I'll do a search for a part number, I'll come into credits and do the same thing. The effect of the new parameter is that when we're in the sales screen, we have a checkbox that excludes part numbers with 0 stock. In the credit screen, obviously this creates an issue because sometimes customers are returning items that have 0 stock. So to avoid us having to uncheck the box, a new parameter is now available that will allow us to, within the credit screen, include all part numbers with stock or otherwise. So in the sales screen, if I entered this particular part number, I'm doing it this way so that we're doing, the system's going to say no parts found. This is what we want in the sales screen so that we're not bringing up part numbers that don't have inventory, so I do have it checked to only show parts in stock. Unchecking this will bring me back the part number I was looking for. Now within the sales screen, within the credit screen rather, this has been amended so that if I'm searching for a part number for this particular customer, when I enter the same part number, now the system will find it. So the search checkbox just here is essentially unchecked in the credit screen but remains checked in the sales screen.